Participation in sports, whether competitive or non competitive, is one way for the community with disabilities to engage themselves in regular physical activities and exercise. In the past decades, several researchers have highlighted the significance of organized sports for community with disabilities, which have focused on the psychological, social, and moral development benefits associated with sports participation. Selamat datang, Sawadika, Sabaidi, Chumripsul, Mabuhay, and welcome to today's webinar entitled Goal for Goal, Let's Break the Record with me, your moderator, Suhaila Muhammad, and all of the distinguished speakers who will assist us in the further elaboration and illustrations with the aim to increase our understanding on the topic of today's webinar organized by SEAMEO SEN. We are also glad to welcome our viewers on YouTube and Facebook to today's webinar. Thank you so much for your amazing support. Dear distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see here on your screen, the agenda for today. We are definitely thrilled to be hearing and learning from all of the superb experience from our esteemed speakers for today. And who are they? Let us briefly meet them here as you can see on the screen now. And we are extremely honored to have with us not just 3 or 4 speakers, but 7 fantastic people who are from various backgrounds, from the ministry, from sports division, coaches, parents, and of course, the athletes themselves who will be sharing their remarkable and inspiring stories with all of us today. Welcome, dear speakers. We are absolutely excited to have all of you with us. And of course, our sign language interpreter, Ms. Tan Lee B, who will be with us throughout the whole webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I am delighted to mention that this webinar would not have been materialized if it had not been for the great support and ideas from our very own director of SEAMEO SEN, Dr. Hajah Hanani Harun Rasid. Dr. Hanani is extensively passionate about special education, and this topic today on sports for the community with disabilities is definitely close to her heart. With that, I am extremely honored to welcome Dr. Hajah Hanani Harun Rasid to deliver her opening remarks. Dr. Hanani, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Dr. Muhammad Azizani Mak Jalil, Deputy Director of SEAMEO SEN Organising Committee. Our speakers for today, Mr. Muhammad Sofian Hamzah, Director, Paralympic Division, National Sports Council Malaysia, Madam Jamilah Kadir, Deputy Director, Planning and Research Sector, Special Education Division, Ministry of Education Malaysia, Mr. Shailesh, Head Coach for National Blind Football and Amputee Football Teams, Technical Director, Pan Disability Football Malaysia, Mr. Fatil Khair Mohamad, Head Coach for Goalball, SMK Pendidikan Khas Setapak Malaysia, Mr. Win Mint, Myanmar former Paralympian for Standing Volleyball and Shotput, Miss Adeline Duma Pong Ancheta, Philippines Paralympian for Powerlifter, Miss Che Sok Hui, mother to Aloysius Gan Kai Hong, Singapore Para Boccia player, and to all participants from SEAMEO member countries. On behalf of SEAMEO SEN, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to today's webinar. Go for goal, let's break the record. I would like to congratulate all of you for your virtual presence today. As a regional center for special educational needs, it is ingrained in our mission and vision to advocate inclusivity for learners with disabilities. Therefore, this time around, SEAMEO SEN would like to shed some light on the approaches that can be implemented to nurture learners with disabilities potential through sports. It is hoped that today's webinar will increase awareness and enlighten on the opportunities, recognition, and privileges that persons with disabilities can achieve with sports achievements. I believe this webinar will help to advocate educators, administrators, parents, and NGOs for providing an equal platform and opportunity for people with disabilities to improve their quality of life through sports. Furthermore, the sharing session later will provide insights to all of you on how we can help in reducing the stigma associated with persons with disabilities. Today's webinar is very special because we managed to gather experiential speakers who were involved in the development of learners with disabilities in sports. Mr. Muhammad Sofian, Madam Jamilah Kadir, Mr. Shailesh, and Mr. Fatil. They will be sharing on how we provide platforms and encouragement for learners with disabilities to grow in the sports industry. SEAMEO SEN is also delighted to have Mr. Win Min and Miss Adeline to share on their journey in achieving their outstanding performance in sports. Lastly, Ms. Che Sok Hui will share on parents' perspectives on providing strong support to unleash the learners with disabilities potential in sports. Alongside our great lineup of speakers for today, I am sure that today's webinar will be insightful and useful for our participants in gaining knowledge on the inclusion in the sports industry. Therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our speakers in advance for their time and diligent efforts to make today's webinar a success. I sincerely appreciate your participation in today's webinar. I hope today's webinar is both pleasant and useful. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Hajah Hanani. Thank you so much for the inspiring remarks. Yes, we definitely look forward to today's webinar and hope to achieve all of the objectives that you've mentioned in your speech, Doctor. Again, thank you so much for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly honored to have all of the speakers here with us, whom I will further introduce later. But in a nutshell, here they are. Mr. Muhammad Sufyan, Director, Paralympic Division of National Sports Council. Madam Jamilah Kadir, Deputy Director of Planning and Research Sector, Special Education Division, Ministry of Education, Malaysia. Mr. Shalish, also known as Mr. Sani, Head Coach, National Blind Football and Amputee Football Teams, Technical Director, Pan Disability Football Malaysia. Mr. Fatil Khair Muhammad, Head Coach of Go Ball SMK Pendidikan Khas Tapak Malaysia. Mr. Yu Win Yins, Myanmar former Paralympian standing volleyball shotput, who is also accompanied by his translator, Mr. Mio Pine. Miss Adeline Dumapong Achenta, Philippines Paralympic para powerlifter. And Madam Chair Sok Hui, parents of Aloysius Dan Kai Hong, Singapore boccia player. Hello, sports enthusiasts. We are absolutely excited and look forward to today's session, which will start in a short while. Before that, allow me to move on to the webinar's briefing. As this briefing is highly significant for all participants, we hope you pay close attention. Firstly, during the Q&A, all participants may ask questions by typing in the chat box. However, as a moderator, I will only choose some questions because due to time limitations, and we hope you understand that. The link to the evaluation form will be shared via chat box during the webinar, and the workshop certificate will only be sent to the participants who have completed the evaluation form. And for your information, the e-certificate will be sent to participants through email that have been registered within 14 working days. Thank you all for your kind attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you are excited as I am today. Today's webinar aims to provide pivotal points on how sports can be considered a highly significant factor in the development of the community with disabilities. And as a matter of fact, we have seen that previous studies have suggested that sports have positive impact on society, social-emotional development, as well as self-esteem, attitude, and behavior. But how can we enhance sports in our very own ecosystem? So let us all start with our round one for today with our first speaker, Mr. Muhammad Sofyan Hamzah, the Director of Paralympic Division National Sports Council Malaysia. Please welcome Mr. Muhammad Sofyan. Mr. Sofyan, how are you? So can you please help us all understand the background and history of sports for the disabled, as well as the categories and classifications of sports for all? Mr. Sofyan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Suhaila. First of all, I would like to thank the SEAMEO SEN for inviting me to this webinar. Hopefully, by giving a little bit of my knowledge of planning the programs of Paralympics in Malaysia, can give all the audience the informations how can we start the sports towards the disabled people. So for the today's informations, I would like to focus on the enable the disabled sports. So first of all, the background and the history of the disabled sports. As we know that the sports for disabled has been started since 1939. it was changed by the Dr. Ludwig Guttmann, who is the doctor, neurosurgeon, and neurologist who came from Germany to the United Kingdom. He became the director of a spinal injury center as a director of spinal injury center at the Stoke Mandeville Hospital in England by 1943. So from there, he see that many people who are in injury, who have a disability, have nothing to do. So they are preparing of waiting, do nothing, and so on. So because of the World War II at 1945, he saw so many people, so many soldiers having what we call it the disability because of the war. And then the process of recovery, lack of recovery, and they're waiting for something that just like we are waiting for to die without doing nothing. So because of that, he thinking of something that how to enhance the lifestyle of these soldiers and these armorers, which had been injury during the war. So he started the games on 1948 because based on the rehabilitation activities, just because to enlighten and to enhance the lifestyles of the patients. So by the 1952, those people who are in the rehabilitation center joined the Dr. Guttmann to start off the games. First games, we call it the Stoke Mandeville Games. So and then in the 1960, Stoke Mandeville Games was later became the Paralympics. First Paralympic Games took place in Rome, Italy, which is they gathered around 400 athletes from the 23 countries. Okay, next. This is also the background of 1976. They started the growing the games, and then from there, 1989, there is we call it the understanding between the Paralympic and Olympic Council. They joined the games, which is whoever organized the games of the Olympic game, they must also host the Paralympic Games. I think there is a little bit of history. How is the disabled sport started? Okay, on the screen you can see that this is a Dr. Ludwig Guttmann. Ludwig Guttmanns, they are Nazis from the Germany, came to the England, and then founded the first Paralympic Games. Okay, next. You can see this is the picture. How is the game started? There's a lot of games. They have basketball. They have fencing. They have javelins. They have archery and also athletics. Okay, next. The organizations. Okay. To start the games, there must be an organizations to look after the games all over the world. So the International Paralympics Committee was established at 22nd September 1989. It was 93 years later after the establishment of International Olympic Committee, which is established 23rd June 1896. As you can see, by the 93 years, only the people look into the disabled people. So there is a quite some time, which is it took about 100 years, 93 years, about 200 years before people realize we must do something for the people with disability. Okay. International Organization for Disabled Sports. You can see here that International Paralympic Committee we have 183 countries in under umbrella of international Paralympic countries. And then the Asian level, we have the 44 countries. Asian Parasport Federation, I'm sorry, there's a bit of error here. It's supposed to be 11 countries. It's not 44 countries, they're 11. ASEAN Parasport Federation is 11 countries. It's only 10 members of the ASEAN, but the other one is included the Timor-Leste as a members, as a joint members. Yeah? And then the other organizations, you can see on the screens that there is a few of the organization look after the games. Another one is the Virtus. Virtus Games is mainly for the intellectual impairment person. So there is an organization we call the Virtus. So they host the game specifically for the intellectual impaired person. And then the other one is BISFET. BISFET is looking after the BOCHA. BISFET is a BOCHA International Sports Federations. They got the CP Football, International Federation of CP Football, looking after for the CP Football. We have IWOS. IWOS is an international organization for wheelchair and PT sports. All these organizations looking after disabled sports. So there are many sports, but there are many organizations. There is a few that I can share with you guys. Next is the categories and type of disability. Categories and types of disability, as you can see here, as a normal basic disability categories, you can conclude at the three. It was intellectual, visual, and physical. This one is a basic disability categories. So you know, before you enter the sports of disability, you must at least having these three. Whether you are intellectual, whether you are having a visual impair, or whether you have a physical impair. And then from there, you can, if you are the intellectual impair, you must be having the IQ level at least less than 75. Then you can be considered as the intellectual disability. If you're higher than that, you cannot. You can be considered as a normal person. And then for the visual impair, there is the percentage of how a visual impair can be categorized, which is we can put it in that way. Let's, for instance, if you are in a category B1, this means you are totally blind. And then if you are into a B2, you are categorized into B2, you are the 5% blindness, which is you can see, but it's very small, yeah. And then the B3 is more or less 10% of visual. And then the other one is in the physical. Physical, it can consist of three categories also. There is cerebral palsy. And then physical impair, it consists of the movement, muscle, or dwarf. And then the other one is on wheelchair. Those categories are recognized by the IPC, APC, APSF, and also the IF. So IPC is International Paralympic Council, Asian Paralympic Council, Asian Pacific, ASEAN Paralympic Federation, and also international federations. Okay, we can go to the type of disability sports. These are a few sample of how you can involve in the sports. If you are intellectual disability, it's not all sports you can join. There is a few sports you can join, which is if you are in intellectual disability, you can join whether in athletics, in swimming, table tennis, and paintballing. And if you are in a visual impair, there's a lot of sports can you join. You can join athletics, swimming, trampoline, cycling, chess, judo, and so on. And then the other one is physical impairment because of the various of physically impairment. There is a lot of sports you can join. Basically, in overall, if you are having a disability of a certain disability, there are certain sports you can join, not all sports. Then you have to look, you have to read, and you can see whether these sports are suitable for you. Okay, next. Qualification of disabled sports. Okay, before you enter the sport, they have in Paralympic, in the sports of the para, we call it as a classification of disability. Why we having this classification? Because same disability category classification for fair competition. Because we want to put it disability in the same category. Otherwise, if we don't do that, they for sure they are competing not in fairness. Okay, and then the classification is made and managed by the FEC based on the classification guidebook has been provided by the FEC, and then to channel athletes the same group with the competent disabilities. Okay, and there's a few steps that has been guided by the IPC, which is step 1, we need to know what is the kind of disability. So the kind of disability has been need to be endorsed by the physicians. The physician will give an overview of the class to compete. And then the step 2, what kind of sport to get involved in. The one is need to get a verification by the sport technical experts. And then you need to provide a fixed overview of competing classifications type. And next, this is the classifications. Before the start, we need to determine by the specific sports endorsed by the medical and the technical experts. And then we do the evaluations. We do the evaluation before the match. Before the match is classification done by the experts or medical people. And then during the match, they're having an overview. They see whether they're giving the right classification for the athletes. And then after the match, they will do a reevaluations, receive back, and then to confirm whether this is the correct classification given to them. And then the third steps is you need to do a classification, registrations, all athletes in the certain classes. Why we do the classifications? Why we do it? Because of that one is the basics of the Paralympic movement. Without the classifications, we cannot call it as the Paralympic. Because the classifications is mainly to guide or to determine the differences, disability within certain numbers of people. So blind people, we need to go to blind people. If you are B1, we gather you under B1. If you are wheelchair, we put up you under wheelchair group. We cannot mix around because it can give unfairness if they compete later on. And then the classification, as I mentioned before, once you get the status, the classification, we call it, the people who do the classification, we call it a classifier. They will give the athletes status. First is provisional, temporary, which means if they are having a 50-50, they're not so sure whether this is a correct classifications, so they don't have any, we call it a strong justifications. They will put it into under provisional until further notice or until further next classifications. And then those athletes for the new one, they will give a new until they have sanctioned classifications. And then the rest, R is for the review. Review is like a provisional. They are giving a certain period of time, and then after that they will review again. And then the C is a confirm. C confirm verification is permanent, which is if you are already classified as a C confirm, wherever you go, you no need to do a classification anymore. So your status, your class is fixed.
That applies to other countries as well, yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Zakian?
this is international
Ah.
international rules. Once you are given the class status,
Right.
then that is your class. You cannot change anymore.
I see. Mr. Sufyan, can we bring the types of sports competition for round 2? Mr. Sufyan?
Sure, can.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing on how sports for the disabled started, like enable the disabled. And it's amazing when you shared how it was initially to enhance the lifestyle of the war victims who became
Yeah.
disabled, that can truly blossom into sports organizations that will uplift and provide more opportunities for the community with disabilities. So thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Sufyan, for the first round of today's webinar. A truly great start, Mr. Sufyan. Thank you so much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Disability Discrimination Act, or DDA, was passed in 1996 to reduce the discrimination faced by disabled people. The Act states that disabled people should never be refused services or entry to places where the public can normally go because of their impairment. So that said, earlier we have understood how Paralympic sports was initiated. Now we would like to find out more on the initiatives and support from the Ministry of Education. And with us today, we are delighted to have Madam Jamila Kadir, Deputy Director of Planning and Research Sector, Special Education Division, Ministry of Education, Malaysia. Madam Jamila, how are you?
Good today.
Thank you for joining us, Madam. Can you please share the initiatives and support as well as the policies of the MOE in the development of sports for the community with disabilities?
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Suhaila, and a great appreciation for SEAMEO SEN for inviting me to share a little bit of what MOE has done towards ensuring the involvement of our special education needs pupils in sports. Okay, so basically, ladies and gentlemen, the sports development and co-curriculum programs are considered as a priority in the field of education. Okay, so most often than not, participation in games or even sports has been associated with various positive self-development results. So the implementation of sports for special education need pupils must be well designed in order to ensure that it can bring positive impact to them. So in relation to this matter, the Ministry of Education, or from now I'll be referring to as MOE, has implemented a co-curriculum policy through the Education Act. So ladies and gentlemen, there are many initiatives and supports that has been given by MOE towards ensuring pupils with special education needs are able to get involved and represent their schools, their districts, or even their states for sports. Okay, but for today, I'm just going to highlight the three main initiatives that support in ensuring that our pupils or our special education need pupils are able to take part in sports, being whether in school level or even at district level or maybe at national and international level. But the most important thing is actually we are giving access and equity for our pupils so that they can also be involved in sports. So let us look at the first. Okay, now. Basically, as I mentioned this now, I will be highlighting three initiatives and support. Okay, the first will be the policy itself. Okay, if without the correct policy or without the right policy, so there is no way that we can actually ensure that our special education need pupils can be involved in sports. So the first part is a policy. So ladies and gentlemen, you see, compulsory for all pupils and teachers. Okay. Okay. Now, as we look here, the policies, okay, pupils in national schools have to take part in 3 co-curricular activities from 3 different categories, okay. So, first of all, is a uniform unit, and we also have club or society as well, sports and games, where we are going to talk about it today, okay. Now, there are 5 main co-curriculum policies which are as described as follows, okay. The first co-curriculum activity is part of the national curriculum, okay. The implementation of co-curriculum in school is compulsory, whereby pupils can choose, as I mentioned earlier, from the 3 co-curricular activities, uniform, club, society, sports and games. It is compulsory. So sports and games is also compulsory at school level. Therefore, this is why our special education needs pupils are also under this policy. So regardless of their ability, okay, it's compulsory for them to take part in sports and games, even at school level. Okay, so this is accordance to the letter of professional circular that has been, it has been already widespread to all schools. Okay, so now let's look at the number 2. Okay, participation in the co-curriculum activity is compulsory. Okay, regardless whether you're special education needs pupils or maybe you are the typical pupil. So everybody in school, they are required to take part in this co-curriculum, meaning even sports and games. Okay, and then the third part is teacher participation is mandatory. Okay, every teacher in schools, okay, regardless, teachers who teach typical pupils, or even teachers who teach special education needs pupils, it's mandatory for them to take part in planning specific, detailed and quantitative activities for uniform, club, society, and also again here, sports and games. Okay, and let's look at the number 4. Co-curriculum activities implemented at schools should be in the form of any planned activities. It is not something, okay, for example, today I'm going to do football, so everybody does football. No, it is something about planned. Okay, so remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you fail to plan, then actually you plan to fail. So that is why planning is very important. Okay, so why? Because teachers, the co-curriculum activities implemented at schools must be in the form of any planned activities beyond the process of teaching and learning in the classroom. This is because it provides the pupils, especially our special education needs pupils, with the opportunity to improve, to strengthen and practice the knowledge, skills and values that they have learned in the classroom. Okay, and the last but not least, policy participation without any discrimination or compulsion elements, but focuses more on the enhancement of unity and integration among pupils. And I would like to stress here how in Malaysia we have stressed on the inclusive part. Okay, we want our pupils to be included in all settings. So here, when it comes to co-curriculum activities, be it uniform, club, or in sports and games, we actually want our pupils to be included in any settings. Okay, so that is first part for the policy. How our policy, the MOE policy supports, and it is an initiative to ensure that our pupils, our SEN pupils actually, they are always able to be active in sports. Okay, next. Okay, our budget allocation. Okay, so MOE has given budget allocation for activities in sports. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, okay, as you look here, we have 4 levels of activities here. The school-based activities. So every child in school, they are given the opportunity to be active in sports. Okay, so school is the first place where they are introduced about sports. Maybe some parents, maybe they have introduced much earlier stage, but most of our pupils get the experience in school. Okay, so to do activities at school base, we need budget. Okay, so because of that, the government, MOE, has allocated special allocation to schools in the form of per capita grant. Per capita grants means each per head for each child, including our special education needs. Okay, now we also have activities at state level, we also have national level, and we also have international level competitions. Okay, and budgets are given for state level, national level. Okay, and when it comes to training, okay, we also support training for our teachers. Okay, because in 3 ways actually. We have a certification. We give certification courses for our special education needs teachers, okay? Because we believe that by training our teachers, then they are able to actually train our athletes, special education need athletes, okay? As you can see the pictures there, we at the ministry level, we have supported in the sense of we have given sports science certification at level 1, okay? For each state has given, each state are to send at least 1 teacher or 2 teachers to attend a course on sports science certification. And we also have strategic partnership with, as you can see there, we have strategic partnership with National Council for Sports and Sports Art and Co-Curriculum Division from the Ministry of Education. And we also have Malaysian Paralympic Council, Malaysian Athletics Federation, Special Olympics Malaysia. And we also have our pupils who take part in sports stacking competition. And Ministry of Youth and Sports, for your information, we have talent ID or talent scouting conducted by Ministry of Youth and Sports in identifying our pupils who have who are able to take part in sports and maybe are able to go for international levels. And we have many other various societies and organizations. And we also have National Special Education Sports Technical Committee, okay, which are responsible. These people are responsible in coming up with guidelines on how to come up with games and sports for our pupils. Okay, and for example, for this year, we already these are the people who are going to be involved in the National Special Education athletics meets in from the 11th to 15th September. So they are very technical. They are very good at what they are doing. So they also give helping hands to all the states on their specialties there. Okay. I think that's all from me, Puan Suhaila.
Thank you so much, Madam Jamila. Thank you for sharing on the training sessions. Is it open for all, Madam? And how can they find out on the training sessions to be conducted for the future coach?
Okay, for our future coaches here, it's open to our special educational needs teachers. Okay, and the names are given through, if any teachers are interested in taking part in this training or course here, all they have to do is just to submit their names to the respective state education department, which is special education sector. There's one special education sector in the state. So all they have to do is just contact the person in charge of this co-curriculum and sports activities in the state of the education department.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing on the well-designed plan to ensure the impacts for the disabled that will consequently bring various positive development. Yeah, Madam?
Yeah.
It is important to promote sports for students with disabilities. And it is
Exactly.
eminent. Yeah, the MOE has developed policies aimed to increase sports participation for all students, leave no one behind.
Exactly.
Yeah, great effort from the MOE that made it compulsory for all students to become active in sports at school level. Thank you so much, Madam Jamila, for sharing the great insights from MOE. We look forward to the second session in a short while, Madam. Before we move on, I would like to acknowledge our amazing viewers from YouTube and Facebook from Malaysia, Brunei, Philippines, Cambodia, Laos, Indonesia. Hello, sports enthusiasts. Thank you for joining us. If you are a coach, sports athletes, or even sports fans, we look forward to your amazing stories or questions. So do share with us in the chat box and I can read later. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from two of our speakers on the background of sports and initiatives to further develop sports for community with disabilities. Now, moving on, coaching is a particularly valuable element in developing the skills of athletes with disability, such as goal setting, providing feedback and skill development. Coaching athletes with disability may require additional skills including recognizing adaptations, addressing accessibility issues, promoting independence, and providing social support, and many more. So that being said, it is an honor for us to have our next speaker, Mr. Shailesh or Coach Sani, the head coach of National Blind Football and Amputee Football Teams Technical, as well as Director of Fan Disability Football Malaysia. Coach Sani, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Fuanso. Thank you. Yeah, very interesting presentation from Puan Jamila and of course, Cik Sofian. Morning. People who help us in our journey in developing the sports.
Exactly, yeah.
SN, thank you very much. I would like to share my screen. Is that okay?
Yes, please, Coach. The floor is yours.
Okay. Yep. This is what I have always believed in, that people with a disability are football fans. As we all know, they too buy their favorite club jerseys here and they make their way to stadiums and cheer on just like every other Malaysian. It's just simply that they have the right to play. They have the right to be included. Okay. When we talk about Malaysians, we got pelbagai bangsa kan. Tapi sometimes we have to also look into the bangsa OKU like most people say kan. Because they have the right to be included, right? So having said that, I'm Coach Sani. You can call me Sani. I founded the Pan Disabled Football in 2006 and started grassroots coaching for ID football, intellectual disabled, Down syndrome, and today we have like 10 categories of disability football spearheaded by the club. Yep. So, all right. So moving on, I would like to share with you a piece of video here that would like you to take a look and you would like this.
Of sorrow, there are trees that whisper in the evening, carried away by a moonlight shadow, sing a song of sorrow. There are trees that whisper in the evening, carried away by a moonlight shadow, sing.
Okay, so the reason why did you manage to catch that video?
Yes, Coach. Definitely.
Okay, right. So I'm just trying to tickle everyone here by looking at the video and to see whether did you notice what I noticed, what others noticed, right? So now we talk about empowering the disabled through sports, giving them a chance, is their rights to play. Now these are many things that the benefits, how you can empower the disabled people with disabilities through sports. You know, they become leaders. You can develop social skills. We all know all these things are promoted by the Ministry of Education, the Kementerian Belia Sukan, the Sports Ministry. Okay, Cik Sofian has spoken about this, Puan Jamila has spoken about this, and many more of our colleagues here is going to speak about the same thing. It seems like there's so many benefits when you empower the people, empower PWDs through sports. Okay, sense of belonging, identity, they become champions, they become Paralympians, right? So before we move on, let's talk a little bit. Let's appreciate a little bit about the disability statistics from United Nations. Well, this is not for me, but I'm just sharing the information. It's like 1 in 7 people, 15% worldwide, have a disability. Many of you agree with that statement? More than 1 billion people are living with a disability. 80% of these persons with disabilities live in developing countries, according to the United Nations. Rates of disability increasing due to population aging and increases in chronic health conditions. Now, by 2050, that's where the problem starts. It's going to double up to 2 million forecast. People with disabilities are often denied chances to work, go to school, and participate fully in society. But I think we'll have to agree with some of these findings from the United Nations, right? Okay, so when we talk about empowerment, what are we talking here? Well, how can we empower them? What do you want to do with empowerment? How? Give them power? What kind of power? What kind of power? Put them into society? How? Give them positions? How? So we're talking about diversity and inclusivity. Now, Madam Puan Jamila has spoken about this. Everybody seems to be pressing on inclusivity. The Sustainable Development Goal speaks about inclusion, but this is what we find about diversity, the mix of different players. You can see all sorts of players living together, and this is how they work together, the inclusivity model. This is how we look at the empowerment module. Moving on, now to empower the disabled, you probably need a coach. What is a coach? A coach is, I term it as the CEO, which is also the Chief Everything Officer. Of course, not the Chief Entertainment Officer, but the Chief Everything Officer. He's a motivator, he's a doctor, he's a talent scout, he's an advisor, he's a father, he's a facilitator. As you can see, everything down there. Well, I guess Encik Sofian faces this situation most of the time where everybody comes to him and he's like a father. He has to handle all sorts of disabled sports. High performance, by the way. Yeah, so this is a coach. Many of us here share the same, values. And it only applies in different kind of sports, right? So what are some key roles of coaches? As we all know, we develop physical well-being, advocate inclusivity, place the disabled in the center of everything we do. No, it's not that easy. Ultimately, we want to create healthier and stronger athletes. Delivery of sustainability awareness. Okay, it's a SR. It's a social responsibility. A coach is doing a social responsibility program, actually, right? We want to embed a culture of inclusive sports. We want to ensure disabled people can access football, encouraging them to develop the skills, self-esteem, and of course, elite athlete pathway. That's why we have so many channels here in our country. We are so fortunate that we have all these channels here. It's like when you start on a grassroots and you want to excel, there are the Paralympics, there are the Para Games, and it's taken over by organizations like the National Sports Council. Yep. We have enjoyed that too. So how do you empower people out of everything in this wide world? How do you empower them? What are we going to do? Play boccia? Well, some coaches would want to empower the disabled through boccia. Some who are swimming, some people will ping pong, but Sunny chooses football because football is the most popular sports in the world. Forgive me, or there may be another sports which is more popular than football. I know football is a crazy sport. It unites people and it also divides people, right? As you can see here, oh yeah, we have Datuk K. Raja Gopal, yang sempurna, cukup sempurna, people say, 2 arms, 2 legs, playing against a single leg athlete. Well, these are all the illegal races of Malaysia, or the mud rampage, which I picked them up and gave them crutches and say, let's play football. Inclusion? Agreed? Well, then who do we have here? Well, everybody knows who's this. Portugal. Inclusion football. Well, he's got the kid on a wheelchair. Well, from what I see, it's cerebral palsy here. And that's a child with a fracture. Well, that's a temporary disability, I would guess, not a permanent disability. But pay attention to this. So why football? The power of football, the world's most popular sports. How can we do it? I would like to pull your attention to this video. It's produced by one of my ex-sponsors, which has the Pan Disability Football Movement in Malaysia, which we founded here. Just appreciate the video. I hope you like this. Nafasku di antara deras arus berdebaran dadaku menjadi hamparan semangatku. Bangkit menggapai hitam di angkasa,
melintasi jalur ruang dan masa bagi menggapai bintang di angkasa, menyusuri arus nadi kemenangan. Ku bela namamu di pesada dunia baru, menjulang jaluranmu. Semangatku bagi menggapai bintang di angkasa, melintasi jalur ruang dan masa bagi menggapai bintang di angkasa, menyusuri arus nadi kemenangan. Bagi menggapai bintang di angkasa, melintasi jalur ruang dan masa bagi menggapai bintang di angkasa, menyusuri arus nadi kemenangan.
Wow, thank you, Coach. We are surprised to see the video
Yep.
that you share.
Okay, so I hope you saw what I saw. Everybody here saw. We're talking about inclusivity and diversity. What is it about? Providing the same for everyone, or providing the same experience for everyone? I hope this message will speak further on this, Wansu. So end of the day, to us, it's together is power. To me, together is power. When you get things done together, it's power. As you can see, our JDT TMJ is inclusive football. TMJ is on crutches. Then we have parents, we have footballers, we have frame football, and yep, that's all from me now. Key roles of a coach. What can a coach do to empower people with disabilities? Maybe we'll speak on round 2 if that is the way it goes. So over back to you, Puan Suhaila.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach Sunny. Thank you for unfolding the ways to empower the community with disabilities through sports. And thank you for wearing so many hats, not just as a coach, but also as a father, motivator. And I've seen you becoming punching bags to some football players with autism. So thank you so much for that. Now let us move on to our fourth speaker for today, Mr. Fatil Khair Muhammad, another coach, inspiring head coach of goalball from SMK Pendidikan Khas Tapak Malaysia. Hello, Coach. Assalamualaikum. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay, hello. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello.
And good morning for everyone. Okay, thank you to Madam Suhaila and also the SEAMEO SEN committee to invite us on in this morning sharing. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, because previously we already heard so many info, knowledge sharing from our Mr. Sofian, Madam Jamila. Also, they're one of the great presentation sharing from our coach Sunny. Because I tried to approach another different to use another approach because for this first session I don't have any slide to sharing, but I want just to share with everybody that the question is, the majority of you have likely participated in sporting activities in the past, but have you ever considered how people with disability can join the sport? But previously we already heard from Mr. Sunny, also from Mr. Sofian. The question is any sports for the disabilities? So the answer is obviously is yes. Any type of organized physical competition created especially for individuals with disabilities referred to as disability sports. people like to think that having them to participate is a weird thing to do. However, we must realize that participation is a disability sport. It's also a fundamental human right. There are several sports designed especially for people with disability, such as a goalball, blind football especially for visual impairment. But we also have another sport like power chair hockey, wheelchair rugby, amputee football for physical, and to name a few. Although progress is being made, there is still a long way to go before more people are aware of a disability sports. Why? Because disability is frequently viewed in its context, micro context. Okay, according to the study, 70% of people believe that sports are too difficult for them to participate, especially for people with disability to participate because of their mental health, and 80% of people with disability are deterred from playing because they are self-conscious about their bodies. This troubling finding that distressing because individuals with disability should be never be denied the freedom to engage in sport in order to benefit from the opportunities it's offered for individual and society development. Okay, me as a national goalball coach in a senior and junior level, I serve as a coach to these people with disability, especially for visual impaired athletes. If Coach Sunny, maybe they have lots of categories, including the blind football, but me, especially for visual impaired. Okay, allow me to elaborate on the role that coaches play in developing sport for people with disability. First, you may encourage them because as a coach, we need to encourage them to pursue sports and take use of the opportunity that do exist by serving as a handicapped sport coach. For the idea that disability will make sports more challenging to dispel, disability sport coaches are crucial. This is very crucial because the purpose of social assistance from the coach is to reassure persons with disability that they will be improved, assist them in focusing on the chance for the future, on their future and next future, and inspire them. This is the most important thing is to inspire them rather than constrain. Beginning in this field is a fantastic and rewarding way to improve your coaching abilities too, because even though a study has identified barrier to a coaching in the disability sport, such as having a limited financial support, fewer coaching and support staff, and a lack of coach education and training resources and equipment. This is what we are facing right now, but luckily we have a National Sport Council and Paralympic Department who always give us not 100, but 200 support in everything. They provide us with the equipment, with the services. So you will be not only improve your personal skills, but they also contribute to the ultimate worldwide aim of making sport accessible to everyone. Whether you want to believe it or not, working as coach for disabled athletes may speed up the healing process for injury competitors. According to the 2012 study, athletes' confidence and performance suffered after they have fully recovered from a serious injury because of their sport, and they start to worry about getting one again. This is an important role as a coaches because we need to encourage and give them support. However, studies show that coaches have a beneficial impact on the standard and effectiveness and athlete injury recovery effort. Because coaches is a hard loss to make a recovery period come faster and athlete will regain their confidence. Similar response were given by American Alpine and freestyle athletes who believe their coaches concern and help their injury recovery. In order to help players return to sport after an injury, coaches, one of the coach's most important duties is to provide social support physically and mentally. This is very important. Being a coach for athlete with disability itself is also enable you to provide context for society, which has a significant impact on how people view, how people see the disability people. Disability sports serve as a powerful reminder to society that coaches deal with the athletes, not disability. We need to correct the community that they also as a human being, not because of their culture, because they have a disability, they cannot do anything. We need to put them at the house, keep in the side, put aside, cannot do anything like Coach Sunny sharing before, because with the disability athlete, we saw the sport itself, not disabilities, and the person with disabilities have a right to participate in any sport they are choosing or any sport they are trying to do as an equal footing with everyone else, even for able sports. Okay. Because as a result, because of disability perspective, the disabled have access for these opportunities. Okay, this is for what I'm like to sharing for the first session. Come back to the Mr. again.
Thank you so much, Coach Fatil. Great sharing there from you, and it's good to see that you there are many inspiring achievement that your students have pertaining to the development of goalball here in Malaysia. Very interesting approach, and yes, you are right. It is fundamental human rights for all human beings, regardless of their background, and indeed, sports for disabled people have evolved in many ways, and that we need to advocate for more and more of their participation in sports. Thank you so much.
Correct. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Fatil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, despite the benefits we heard earlier from all of our distinguished speakers, the relevant concern is that community with disabilities frequently encounter variety of obstacles. So now back to our first speaker, Mr. Muhammad Sufyan. Would you like to continue on your presentation earlier? And also later on, can you please share with us on the challenges faced from as well as the achievement of Malaysia para sports? Mr. Muhammad Sufyan, the floor is yours. Mr. Sufyan, are you still with us? Is Mr. Muhammad Sufyan still with us? Hello. Okay, so Adi, you need to on your microphone. Okay. All right. Okay, good.
I continue with my presentations, the types of sports competitions. As we are grow in the sports with this disability, there's a few of sports has been organized for them. Mainly, of course, the Paralympic Games is the highest game for the para athletes, who has been held once every 4 years. We have a World Championship of para sports every 2 years. Commonwealth Games, which combines the able and disabled people, every 4 years. Asian Para Games 4 years. Asian Youth Para Games once every 4 years. ASEAN Para Games every 2 years. And in Malaysia, we have Para Sukma, we call it a Malaysian game every 2 years. Those events are providing opportunity for the athletes to give, to show their talent, to show their competitiveness of their trainings during the games, and then hopefully from there, then they can reach a certain level of standard of athletes. And then there's a lot of games also. They say every year they have games depending on the sport itself. We go to the Paralympics program. This I can share with you guys. This is the we call this basic flow of how we do it in Malaysia. We did a comparison between the normal athletes and the para athletes. As a normal athlete, we got a few stages before you go to the highest level. Since on the para one, because of the para, we don't consist of age. Otherwise, in Malaysia, we are looking at athletes between 40 or 35 years and below, because we know that those athletes, if you are above 35 or 40, it's very hard for us to train and to maintain them to give an excellence achievement at the highest level. At the grassroots level, we have the I Talent, I Train program, which is handled by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Which is we go to the grassroots, they call up of the athlete, they find the athletes and they groom, they train, they find the talents and they train. And then in National Sport Council, we call it a Bakat. Bakat is a talent program, which is those are having interest in sports. We provide the place, we provide the coach, we provide the people who can handle them, and then to train them whether they are okay or whether they can go further upper. And then those has been selected, which is have been improving the skills. We found that whether they can be groomed for the highest level. We put them into the pelapis as a backup in the state and also in the national level. So the backup one can be as a second liner for the podium for their elite athletes. This is how is the pyramid of the structure of how we do it in training program for para athletes in Malaysia. Along the line, as you can see in the slide also, there is a lot of competition provided, lots of activity provided from them in order for them to show their talents and to show to us on the some improvement of the training or competitions. All right, next. This is the high performance sports ecosystem. I'm sorry that there is in Malay, in National Sports Council, we call it as an ecosystem, which is we are those who are in the program, full-time program whatsoever, we put up everything. We give them everything to support them in by hoping that they can excel in the international or the highest level. So we on the incentive, competition, scholarships, allowances, coaches, clothes, accommodations, meals, and everything has been provided. And whether if the athletes also having educations, we also can provide education for them. And then we can approach the university for help them to enter the universities. So this is an ecosystem for the athletes, whether they are interested in the training, interested in the competitions, whether they're interested in representing the country, they will have all sorts of services given by the government. Okay, next. Para sports programs in National Sports Council, we have the full-time program and then we have the periodically program. Full-time program, currently we have the 11 sports, which is they are staying with us full-time a day, training 5 to 6 day, 6 day a week, and then having the all these services provided for them. And then for the periodically sports, we helping them also. We not neglected those this sport, but we have giving them the opportunity to give a grant, or we giving the support by program or by proposal by the sport itself. Challenges, as you know, to handle the program with the athletes for disabilities, we have many challenges. First, of lack of awareness of disabled sports, lack of campaigns. So we're seeking help for any organizations to help us in terms of do a lot more of campaigns, giving an awareness that disabled people also can join sports. And then the other one is parents refuse to let disabled children participate in sport. This is very common. As you know that some parents are very shy to expose their children because of the disabilities. Those who work can't train longer, fear of losing their job, because some athletes also they have a job. If they are concentrate more on the sports, so they're afraid of losing their job. That's why some of the athletes, if we are selected them into the program, where we are also can compensate whatever they have during their working. If, like, for instance, if they're during working time, they're having about 2,000 a month of salary. If they are selected into the program, we as at the National Sport Council will compensate whatever loss of the income, and plus the allowances we given, so they get more than whatever they have now. And then the other one is not many people are interested in training disabled people in sport. Because of to train the athletes of with disability, we need a lot of knowledge, and not many people are having a knowledge, full of knowledge of handling the disabled athletes. And then the last one, the lack of private aid supports. In Malaysia, of course, the private sector, not many look into the disabled athletes. So we're having toughness, we're having difficulties in terms of try to promote sports for disabled. Although this spite of the disabilities or the challenges, we also have an achievement of Malaysian para sports in the world. We have highest level Paralympic, at the highest level, we have a Paralympian, which is as Malaysians know that we have the Olympian, we have the world number one athletes in the World Championship. In Asia, we rank 10 out of 44 countries, and recently in Asian ranking, we rank 4 out of 11 countries. So as you can see here, in Rio 2016 Paralympic, we had 3 goals given by the all the athletics athlete. 3 goals and 1 bronze from Muhammad Rizal Wakpuzi, Dato' Abdul Latif Ramli, and Muhammad Ziad Zulkifli, and 1 bronze from Siti Nuradiah Ismail. So this is the first 3 gold medal in Paralympic history through the sport of athletics for Malaysia. 2016 athletics give us 3 gold medal for during the Paralympics, and then from there we are gradually increasing the achievement when we supposed to get a 4 gold medal, but yet still Muhammad Ziad Zulkifli, even in the short part, even his throw of length of the throws is will give him the gold medal, because of the technicality, we call it the winning supposed to be to win the medal has been revoked. So we maintain the 3 gold medals, but we add up another 2 silver medals. And then what very interesting is that instead of we are depending only for the athletics, now the other sports like badminton and powerlifting also giving medal to us. Next. And then this show here is the World Para Powerlifting World Cup. We have a world number 1, Boni Muyao, men's up to 72 kg, and recently having a gold medal in Commonwealth Games. Next. Yeah, here a gold medal lightweight of recent Birmingham Commonwealth Games.
This is recently, right? Were you
there? Yes, recently. This shows us that we are not lack of talents. There's a lot of talent can be groomed to excel in the higher levels. That's what we do in National Sport Council. We with the National Paralympic of Council, with the Sports Association, always come together to discuss, to plan, and to do a preparation plan to help the athlete to excel in the highest level. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Sufyan. I'm intrigued by the sharing when you mentioned that on the challenges, lack of campaign and raise more awareness, and you mentioned parents are reluctant to allow their children to join sports. This is a very short question here. Maybe you can answer me in 1 or 2 minutes. Do you think they are reluctant because of the time and cost that they have to bear in order for their children to be in sports? You know, like attending training sessions, attire and everything? Mr. Sufyan?
Yes, it's not about money, because of maybe they're having by having a children with a disability may put up the parents into shame, some of them. That's why we are trying to break the we call it I can find the word.
Stigma, right?
Yeah, we're trying to break the stigma of the parents. If you have the children who have disabilities, yet you can help them by enhance their living of lifestyle. Let them we call it
experience.
We can join together with the able people to ensure that they are not left behind. If they are join the sport, they can mix around with the other peoples, so they can uphill their living lifestyle of the children.
Right. Instead of sedentary lifestyle, they can be more active. So thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Sufyan, for sharing on the flow of the sports involvement as well as the ecosystem that you shared earlier. That really assisted in a deeper understanding on how we can provide opportunities for sports for the community with disabilities. Thank you so much, Mr. Sufyan. In the meantime, thank you. We are actually very honored to have the director with us today. So thank you, Mr. Sufyan. To our viewers on YouTube and Facebook, please do keep sharing your stories too in the chat box. If you have any questions, we will refer to your question later during the Q&A session. So looking forward to more engagement of our viewers on Facebook and YouTube. Now move on to our second speaker for today, Madam Jamila. Madam, integration of sports can be a really powerful tool to improve the health and social participation of students with disabilities, but I'm sure there are issues and challenges faced from all levels. So Madam Jamila, let us hear from you on the issues and challenges, and can you please share also the achievement of Special Education Integrated Program LD in sports?
Okay, thank you again, Madam Suhaila. So when we're talking about issues and challenges here, I would like to go back to when I was in the State Department, okay? Because when I was in the Negeri Sembilan State Education Department, I was also responsible for everything that has to do with special education needs pupils, okay? But when I'm here in the division, I'm in charge of a different division, but it's a different sector. But as I said just now, what happened in the State Education Department at that time, okay? So back in, during the national level athletics meet for special education needs in 2017 and 2018, okay? We did not perform well, okay? We, meaning here, Negeri Sembilan, okay? We did not perform well, and we were placed bottom 5 and bottom 3 respectively in 2017 and 18, okay, from 16 states. So we realized that we had to do something about it, okay. And when we looked about, and then when we sat together and to find what were the issues and what were the challenges that we had to face to ensure that we can do something about the performance of our state. So we realized one of the things was we had uncoordinated sports activities for special education need pupils and also for our typical pupils, which was quite worrisome because it is better that we were to include our pupils, our athletes together with the typical pupils, typical athletes, okay? But then the events were, the training part was quite difficult, okay? And we also had a problem with the coaching part because among our special education teachers, they are very they are very active, they are very, full of spirit, but unfortunately we do not have experts in sports coaching, okay? And we also realized that we did not have we had insufficient infrastructure and sports equipment, okay? So normally we would share with our counterpart, with our typical coaches and so on. So realizing this at that time, I was the head of special education unit, and my boss, my immediate boss at that time, Encik Muhammad Nek, okay, if he's here, hi, okay, he was the one who initiated this project of trying to establish or open a special education integrated program or class in the state school, sports state school, the state sports school. We have a state sports school where they learn in the classroom together with, they learn in the classroom at the same time, but they have proper coaching and training after the school hours. So, together in our sector, with the support from the top management of the State Education Department and also the support from the principal of that particular school, Tuan Haji Roslin, okay, we were able to open a special education integrated program, especially, okay, only for the special education needs athletes, pupils who are talented in sports from all over Negeri Sembilan. Okay, so we were given opportunity to open one class. So only one class. So we had to try somehow, okay. So we embarked on the journey in 2018. Okay, middle of 2018, we took our first batch of pupils. Okay, so our first batch of pupils, they had the same training and they trained together with our pupils of the sports school. Okay, and this is, some asked, why do you have to go to special education? Why do you have to go to the special sports school? Okay, we can always open anywhere. But ladies and gentlemen, here I would like to look. These were the guidelines of why we opened. Okay, so the goal was actually to produce human capital in the sports arena among our special educational needs pupils. Okay, and to increase the quality of sports for SEN pupils, and also to build a healthy generation through sports education, and also to give an opportunity for SEN pupils to be involved in the nation's sports development. But I would like to take you to the objective part. The most important thing is to train the SEN athletes systematically throughout the year, not only through, next month is our sports event, so we start training this month, okay? So it's only 1 month. So we wanted to train our athletes systematically throughout the year. So we also had the objective of by 2023, our athletes were able to achieve top 5 placing at least. Okay, and by 2026, Negeri Sembilan is placed among the top 3 states in the sports arena. Okay, but why that particular school? Okay, so we wanted our athletes to able to receive intensive training, continuous training optimally. Okay, able to monitor the development achievement of our athletes, and we also have the facilities. Okay, because our Sekolah Sukan Negeri Sembilan, this is the name of the school, Sekolah Sukan Negeri Sembilan, SMK Sabah, they have the facility, they have the track, they have the coaches, okay, human resource, they have everything. So by opening a special education integrated program in that particular school, we actually share everything, from the facility to the human resource, okay? And the budget was zero because we just opened a class since the facilities are already there in existence, okay? So we wanted to produce world-class Paralympians, but but as we all know, back in 2020 and 2021, we were hit by the pandemic. So there was a bit of backlagging there. But I would like to share what we actually, although I'm now in the division, but I would say I'm happy about it. I'm very proud of what our children did then, okay? So we wanted to increase the number of involvements at national and international level competitions, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, if you look, okay, the Sekolah Sukan Negeri Sembilan at that time, okay, they had hostels. They have hostels, not had, okay? They have hostels that can accommodate our pupils, okay, our athletes. We also have classrooms that can accommodate special education classes. And as you can see, we have sports facilities. So we share the same sports facilities. And also, importantly, our children or our athletes there, we learn skill-based or vocational learning subjects. So for example, in that particular school, they offer bakery. So our pupils, and also they offer agricultural classes. So they are not only for sports, but we intend to come out with pupils who are holistically developed. Okay, we want not only sports, but also comes to academic, and also at the same time they have living skills. They have vocational skills. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the what we call it. As you look at the pictures here, okay. This one particular athlete here, she was the first batch of our pupils back in 2018. Okay, so she recently, during our cross-country event for the national level, so she got the 4th placing. So as I mentioned just now, we wanted top 5 by at least 2020 by 2023, but 2022 we already have top 4. And also to actually share with you, back in 2019, before the pandemic, we had our national event. I remember in 2017 and 18, we took part in Penang and also in Terengganu. Okay, but we were at the bottom 5 and bottom 3. But we opened the class in 2018, and remarkably, in 2019, our first first event with this our pupils from the school, we were able to get a top 10. If I am not mistaken, 8th placing. Okay, 8th or 9th placing, which is better than bottom 5 and bottom 3, and we were able to get top 10. Okay, and prior to this, we never achieved gold medal in 2017-18. No, we only got silver and bronze. But in 2019, we were able to get gold medals, at least, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 3 gold medals. Okay, to one of our athletes from the particular school, but he's now already not there anymore. But these are the achievements. You see, proper and systematic training continuously throughout the year can actually, we can actually get good results. Okay, and the best thing here is we put our students in this school, and they are in an inclusive setting. For example, our girl here, okay, our athlete here, for your information, ladies and gentlemen, she is now in an inclusive setting classroom whereby she's learning together with our typical pupils, learning bakery and meaning, and she also took part in the typical athletics event, and she also helped to be able to help the 4x100 quartet event, and she ran together with our typical pupils, okay, typical athletes. So this is what we call it. This is all about inclusive settings, okay. And our current principal now in that particular school, in Cik Sharudin, he is also very, very concerned about our Paralympians, okay, athletes here, our SEN athletes. And he recently called me and said he wanted to take more athletes for special education needs. So I'm very happy to say that although I'm now here, but I can see that the progress is there. Okay, it is flowering, blooming, and I hope in the years to come, this school or this program will flourish more and more. Okay, that's all from me.
Thank you so
Madam
much.
Suhaila.
Thank you, Madam Jamila. From your session, what I understood is that the team effort and by finding tune on how to coordinate sports for the community with disabilities as well as to conduct training systematically and continuously throughout the year will help overcome the challenges on students with disabilities competencies. Yes. Thank you so much, Madam Jamila. So let's go for goal and break the record. Yeah, we look forward to more successful stories of the achievement of the athletes from the MOE, hopefully soon. Thank you so much, Madam Jamila. So now let us invite our speaker again, Coach Sari, to walk us through on the topic of the pan-disability football model and programs and training for disability football and the achievement. Coach Sari, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Puan Su. Yeah, thank you, speakers. Allow me to share my screen. Okay.
Okay, we can see your screen now, Coach.
All right. Okay. Isn't that cute? What do you think?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so how come we can have a child on a frame with casters playing football? How can that be possible? Well, this child her name is Arisa. She has cerebral palsy, which is diagnosed as hemiplegia. She needs this walking aid and she goes for therapy. And guess what happens next? Football was a social development tool in her life and actually assisted her in a way of therapy, right? So this is what we do in the pan-disability football model. We're talking about the Pan-Disabled Football Club, which we work along with the Sustainable Development Goals, and we provide coaching football as a social development tool for all our trainees, right? For all people with disabilities. So this is Arisa, as you can see, we are still training. Now, what is Pan-Disabled Football? Pan-Disabled Football was an organization established with AFC in Malaysia, an inclusion program that enables young people or adults with any disability to participate in regular organized football matches, right? These are a series of coaches, volunteers, by the way, all volunteers. And what do we do? The coaching program, our disability football coaching program, which is offered free is the word, had overcome the stigma and prejudice towards people with disability participation in football. Specifically, thus our inclusion football programs contributes actively to achieving the sustainable. We are working along these platforms, right? Okay. Now, we have heard time and again, and I'm very thankful to Cik Sophia and Puan Jamila again, Cik Fatih, who spoke about enabling the disabled. Enable the disabled, but in pan-disabled football, when we talk about enable the disabled, what we do here is like we are encouraging my personal best. Now, we all know that not everybody is going to go to the Paralympics because there are just certain limited slots. Everybody would love to go to the Asia Para Games, but not every disabled person can. So what pan-disabled football does is that it encourages my personal best. Just give me your personal best. You need not go all the way, but you have a chance and a platform to play with us. This is a blind child in a special school. Puan Jamila will appreciate this because we have some collaborations with Sekolah Cacat Penglihatan in Klang and some of the PPKI programs, Sekolah Cacat Penglihatan Jalan Batu. Okay, we'll probably explore that later, right? So now this is what we do in the pan-disabled football, and how do we do it? Now the important thing is what does pan-disabled football do to create this. Okay, the program combines football education and training as a catalyst to promote social inclusion. We spoke a lot about this fun recreational activity, instill a sense of self-worth, physical, psychological well-being, behavior management. Behavior management is so important for children with an autism. Okay, modification, performance pathways, participation in international championships. This is what we have done from grassroots to ASEAN Para Games gold medal. And who was behind all this? It's us, the coaches, grassroots. We spoke to the schools spoke to the ministry, then you get MSN involved, and then we become champions. Yep. So these are the kind of things that we do: blind football, intellectually disabled football, Down syndrome. We've got the amputees here. We've got intellectual disabled. All right. These are the kind of things that we do. Right. So next. Now, this is blind football. One of the sports that we advocate in pan-disabled football is blind football. And blind football, we have two levels, which is the grassroots development, recreational, until the schools, and then we have the elite pathway. And this is the national blind football team. This is the Asian Para Games. They participated for at one moment of time, we were the 2015 ASEAN Para Games gold medal winners and ranked number 17 in the world, the Malaysian blind football team. Okay. We also have frame football, cerebral palsy children on a frame. We coach them how to play football. We have cerebral palsy adult with better mobility, right? They're able to move around without the frame. Then we have the amputee football. The blind football and amputee football seems to be going places in this country because these unique sports. How do you get a blind person playing football? How do you get a person with one leg playing football? You see? And we established Project Tongkat. Something big is happening next year, right? In case you would want to know where did these people come from, well, we're using football to educate the people. Jangan lumba haram. Don't illegal race. You may crash and lose a limb. Well, once they lose a limb, that's when Sunny comes on board and says, let's play football with crutches. Okay? Then we have dwarf football. Then we have intellectually disabled football. We have Down syndrome, autistic, Asperger's syndrome, you name it. We coach them all. Why do you see CIMB on here? For all Malaysians that know it, because they are our CSR partner for 5 or 6 years. No longer for now, actually, thanks to COVID. All right, then we have deaf football. We have deaf football, and we even move into skate soccer. We have started with 2 players, double amputees. We put them on a skateboard and play soccer. So football is for everyone. You need not become a world champion, but you have the right to play. Everybody has the right to play. But when you are really, really, really talented, then you can represent the country. Not only in football, but maybe in another sports. But you have to come out and play. We'll provide you the platform. Then we have power chair football. We have done all these clinics in Malacca. Puan Su will appreciate. We were together there conducting this. SEAMEO Sen was on board. All right. So why? Why do we have inclusion football? What is pan-disability football doing in this country? We're the only one in the country anymore. What are we doing? We are creating a football pathway. Okay. Instead of being excluded and isolated, Cik Sofian spoke about stigma. Yeah, that's true. Instead of being excluded and isolated, we discover talent. We go and discover talent. Well, through sports, they have increased confidence. We're building new connections and communities and changing lives. Okay, we have a network of coaches, volunteers, schoolmates, employers, educators, doctors, and who knows, but representing the country and becoming champions. But instead of, if you don't have a chance to represent your country, then it's all about personal best. As I said before, enabling your personal best. You may not represent the country, but you have the right to play in a safe environment. Yep. Well, these are some of our major achievements from the pan-disabled football. I think you would have heard of this. In 2020, there was a film documentary released in cinema. It's Eye on the Board. It did not make it to the cinema. The gala premiere was done. Look at that, 19 March 2020. one day before our film was to be launched nationwide. It's a 1 million ringgit film documentary. One day before the film was launched, the country went into a lockdown. And this film never ever made it to the cinemas. It's the true life story of the Malaysian blind football team, from zeros to heroes, until they became champions and their dream, the quest for the World Cup. You may have heard of it. You can see the trailers. It's on YouTube, right? Eye on the Ball film. Well, there's many more other achievements I would like to share with you, but it's long. Sometimes because it's too long, that's why we have to make a film. All right. So I think that is all from me. Thank you very much. Back to you, Puan Su.
Thank you so much, Coach Sunny, and thank you for sharing. Yes, SEAMEO Sen is definitely very supportive towards sports program, and you mentioned that we were involved in the recent activity sports football here in Malaysia, and we could see that many parents as well are now becoming more encouraging and supportive of their children's involvement in sports. So we need more people like you, Coach, to inculcate more sports achievement and involvement here in Malaysia. Thank you so much. And we have another coach here with us. Don't forget Mr. Coach Fatil.
Okay,
Hello,
hi.
Coach. Welcome.
I would like to share some of the achievements and contribution that we are doing, because normally normally I've covered for the junior and the senior level. Okay, I'm just sharing because they have an international competition because I participate from the 2015 to 2022, because after 2 years stop due to the pandemic caused by the coronavirus and the movement control order starting in March 22. Because for the history, because I'm started getting involved in bringing the Malaysian global team. It's started in 2015 at the Asian Para Games in Singapore. Then we managed to get the silver medal. This is the picture when after we are finalized with versus with the Thailand, because at the time Thailand is currently the number 1 in the Asian and the number 5 in the Asia. But we managed to have to manage a team and get a training, even though because we don't have enough training session and duration because some of the athletes actually they have a part-time. They need to work and they train as well in the same time. Because then another thing, and because for the record on the 2017. We also have a Asian Para Games held in Kuala Lumpur, and we managed our men's global team managed to win a gold medal. But I'm not involved because due of unavoidable constraint. And the next event for our global team is in Thailand for the Asia and Pacific Global Invitation Tournament, and we managed because actually this is very, very high level, because mostly the country who participates is like Korea, Australia, Emirates Arab Satu. Then we managed to get to the final and facing the Korea, because our crucial game is actually in the semi-final, because when we are facing the Thailand team as the home ground. Then we managed to beat them and go straight to the final. And then we managed to get a silver, because the Korean is a better team in Asia also, as well as in the world ranking compared to us. Then after that, everything's going back to because of the pandemic. Then we also we have a movement control, the MCO. Then all the training suddenly stopped. Previously, because previously we already have enough training for the Asian Para Games supposedly in 2019 in Philippines. Then after the training stop, we continue back on the 2022 for this is for the international level, because we have an invitational from the Singaporean teams, women teams, to have a friendly and invitational games. We managed to won 3 games instead of 4. Then for the record, the Singaporean teams managed to won the silver medal on the previous just recently for Asian Para Games solo. We didn't send the women's team because we have some issue with the athlete, with the budget, everything. But I just want to mention that for the women teams, actually we have also the potential. And luckily, Singapore, after we are having a friendly and games with us, they managed to win the silver. But for our teams, as a man, we got a bronze medal. We only have 2 weeks of training, then plus minus 3 weeks, 3 to the maximum is 1 month to having everything in normal. But luckily, okay, I just said luckily we managed to have a bronze, because nowadays the competition level is very high. Even previously we have normally we easily go to the final, and we are facing Thailand as in the previous Asian Para Games or in any tournament in Asian level. But this time we have another competitor like Indonesia and the Laos, who have already increased their games because they have their long due training. They also managed to get everything in order. But I hopefully for the next, because if I'm not mistaken, for the next Asian Para Games is Cambodia. Mr. Sofyan maybe have the info and the details, but we try to get back to the final. There's a mission for our teams as a men's and a woman team. But so this is a national level. I want to stick on more on the national level, because in the national level, I'm heavily involved in the finding and developing new talents to ensure the survival of global in Malaysia. Because like Coach Sani said before, we have lots of the disability students, people, but they don't know how to do, or how to they didn't find the correct path to go to this which spot is suitable for them. Because in addition of the tournament, because it's very likely, because in the youth level, we also having a special education department, Ministry of Education, who are always arrange and make several competition to make sure the students having experience. So on the same time, if you see on the slide, this is the tournament for our national tournament. After we continue to we can do games after coronavirus pandemic. This is held in 2021 on December 2021, which is organized by Selangor KBS and the Global Association with the MPM. That we managed to send 2 group of youth team, one in the junior in female and one is a man. And then luckily, because for the men's team, for the junior, we managed to go to semi-final. Then they have a 4th placing under that time. But for the women, we had 3rd placing, and we also include for the champion team, because on the champion team, actually this is a collaboration with senior and junior team. Because normally because I start training them since they are standard Form 1, 13 years old. Until now, then most of them is already 9 to 20. But during the training, we have facing and all the process, everything. Okay, so we also as a collaboration with the special education to have a special course only for the basic goalball to all the special education teachers in Malaysia. But if I'm not mistaken, we are also planning to do more in the other state, because this one is we have in the complex Kampung Pandan, because we are collaboration with the national MSN and ISA and everything. Because thank you to Mr. Sofyan, because always support our program, our schedule, everything, and give us the opportunity to using the facilities in the Kampung Pandan. Okay, but then this is also the tournament we won. Actually, we won on the 2019, because normally in Malaysia we managed to have 2 to 3 open games. This is on I thought because it's an open game. Then I managed to send out the students from the secondary school to join and take the experience how to play that one. Yeah, this is also the circuit managed by MSN on 2019, and this is because this is the old facilities, but currently MSN already upgrade the facilities, and we are getting more comfortable. Okay. On the same time, actually, like Madam Jamila said also, because we also try to find or give us opportunities to students. In the same times, they also do try to do in athletic, because this student, because currently previously he is most compromised junior level, but now he's playing with our goalball team in senior level. Okay, this is some of the news cover because on our training throughout the process since 2015 until now. And I'm sincerely like to thank you, Mr. Sofyan, as a director of National Council Sports, because always give us support, always give us everything, the moral, the financial, once we are asking for that one. Then also as a Madam Jamila on the behalf of special education to always give us the opportunity to find the student, and we going back to we try to make it them a winner, like Mr. Coach Sani said before, because we need to encourage them. That's all for me. Then come back to the again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Coach Fatir, and congratulations for the great achievement. And we hope you can aim for more and more goals. Before we move on to the next round, we would like to thank the distinguished speakers of round 1 and round 2, Mr. Sofyan, Madam Jamila, Coach Sani, and Coach Fatir. Thank you so much for the fantastic sharing. Let us all go for goal and break the record. And do stay with us for the Q&A session that will take place soon. To our viewers on Facebook and YouTube, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, do share with us in the chat box. Ladies and gentlemen, the increase in public interest in sports for athletes with disability has been rapid and impressive. However, some individuals with disabilities often were viewed as non-productive members of the society and often left to fend for themselves. However, that myth is definitely debunked by the presence of a huge number of discovered athletes with disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, we at SEAMEO SEN are extremely delighted to have with us our first athlete for today, Mr. Yu Win Mint, a former Paralympian standing volleyball or shot put, together with his translator, Mr. Myo Piang, for an inspiring sharing session. Please welcome Mr. Win Mint. Hello, Mr. Win Mint.
Hello. Mingla.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And speaker in Danish. I am Mr. Women in Myanmar. I am a Myanmar former Paralympian and vice chairman of Myanmar Paralympic Sport Federation in Myanmar. Thank you to you all for giving your time by joining here. I would like to thank the organizer of this webinar for giving the opportunity to share my experience in milestone here. I would like to introduce you with my interpreter, Mr. Miu Pai. Yes, he will represent the PowerPoint.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and all the attendees. May I share the PowerPoint for sharing the experience and knowledge in his life? Okay. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, we can see your slide, Mr. Neil.
Thank you. In the PowerPoint, we would like to share the following the topics. The first three one is introducing his biography, and the second one is overcoming and the challenges, although he is a disability, and that one is serving as an officer and earning the knowledge and experience in his life, while working in the ministry, and the yes, just a second. And then the fourth one is his international Paraguay experience and milestone. And the fifth one is very important because it is in this session that he will explain how he became the Paralympian, who encouraged him to become the Paralympian. And the sixth one is the introducing sitting volleyball in Myanmar. And the last one is the 2022 ASEAN Para Game milestone. The first one, I want to move to this session, is introducing the biography. That he was born in 1963 at Chonla Township, Zagan region, which is the middle part of Myanmar. And he graduated Bachelor of Art in Myanmar, specializing from Yangon University in 1985. And then he joined the military by attending the military officer training school and served as a second lieutenant. And then, unfortunately, that he got injury in 1988 at one of the military operations, and that his right leg was amputated below the knee. After that, he moved to the Internal Revenue Department and started working as an officer in 1990. In 1990, although he became, unfortunately, he became the disability, instead of giving us his condition, that he started practicing and participating the domestic sport event in Myanmar. And then in 1994, he started participating the international sport events like a Pacific Game, ASEAN Game, and Asian Game. In 1999, he won his first gold medal for standing volleyball in Thailand, Bangkok for Pacific Game. And in 2009, he retired from the Paralympian for the Paralympian after fifth ASEAN Para Game. After that, he joined the Myanmar Paralympic Sport Federation and started working as a Vice President for Training and Finance. And he also continued working right now. Even in 2001, for the 4th January, he received the medal for excellent performance in social field for being the successful candidate in the sport. In 2017, the 4th January, he received the medal for outstanding public services. And in 2022, received the medal for excellent performance in administrative field. It is his biography. And then the second one is the overcoming the challenges. When he became disability, and he looked for the opportunity, how to overcome the difficulties in his life. That he really wanted to work and do the exercise like the normal people, and by forgetting his disability. So he tried himself, and then he trained himself to do the exercise. Firstly, like wearing the protective gloves for his life was comfortable only for walking. At the time, only for walking is not enough for him. He didn't give up that condition, and he want to do the exercise. So he although working is okay, but he want to do the exercise. But it is very difficult and tough for everybody to do the exercise with the protested left. So he even got the injury at his knee after doing the exercise, without giving us this condition. He didn't give us that condition. He tried to play the badminton slowly and regularly, because he has the experience of playing badminton before. So he thought the playing badminton is the best sport to practice, the moving back and front, left and right. So he overcame the difficulty of doing the exercise or playing the sport like badminton with the protested left. And then the second one is jumping. The jumping with the protested left would be very difficult at the beginning of his life. But he trying to control his body balance, even by joining with one side, and then left side, and then right side, left side, right side, left side. Finally, fortunately, very lucky that he could control his body balance and become easier than before, with or without protested left. It was very amazing for him to do the exercise and to participate in the sport events. The third one is he working as an officer at the revenue department. Because he really want to give the services to the public. Also, he looked for the opportunity to give the services, and then he started working as the officer at International Revenue Department, and he moved to the many branch office around Myanmar. So while working like this, he also tried to attend the diploma course for improving his knowledge and experience. And then the result is in 2001, he received the diploma in business law, and in 2014, he received the postgraduate diploma in law. In 2030, from the International Revenue Department, he moved to Central Bank of Myanmar and started working there as a director. Currently, he works as a Director General at Currency Management Department, Central Bank of Myanmar. It is how he serving the public service, and how he earned the knowledge and experience in his life. The fourth one is the international paragame experience. He participated in these three international games. He also participated all the national game in Myanmar, and then it is the three international the Paralympic game that he participated. The first one is a Pacific game. The second one is the Asian Paragame, and the third one is ASEAN Paragame. Okay, it is here is the milestone the international Paragames. Here his first gold medal was in 1999 at 6th Pacific Game for standing volleyball. And he received another international milestone, international silver medal, the same at Pacific Game for standing volleyball. Here, here is another one is another gold medal in 2001 at ASEAN Paragame, and for shot put sport type. And then another goal in 2003 ASEAN Para Game, silver for ASEAN Para Game, and the gold medal for the fourth ASEAN Para Game. And 2009, he got the bronze medal in the fifth ASEAN Para Game in the shot put sport. Everybody, not only his friends, everybody wants to know how he overcame which encouragement that make him became the Paralympian. Here, the first one is his parents. In Myanmar, we have a culture that the parents that don't want to get injury to their children while playing sports like football, volleyball, and so on. But also they're saying like his parents. His parents also that didn't want him to get injury when playing sport since he was young. But he really enjoyed playing sport. Like football, volleyball, badminton, and so on since his childhood. So even the playing football and volleyball is his favorite sport since that he was children. And then that he participated in the sport event in university and in the military. And then that when he got injury, he could not believe that condition because the one who really enjoying participating in the sport event and playing the sport event and doing the exercise, and then he became disability. That he want to know how to overcome and the challenges. And then the main one is he really didn't want his mother to see him wearing by working with crutches. So this condition that he really want to he really want to overcome this condition. So he tried his best in order to work and to do like normal people. So this the first encouragement is his parents, and the second one is his colleagues and friends. So in his student life or in his childhood, that he enjoyed participating in the sport event, and even in university, that he continued doing it. So his friends and colleagues really want him to participate in the sport event. And then the one he lost his legs, and his colleagues and friends also felt sorry for his losing. So instead of ignoring that this condition, that they invite him to join the sport event and encourage him. Okay, please come and join in the sport event, and please practice with us. The one he could play later. They make challenges to compete with them in some sport like badminton and volleyball. Hey, please come and join with us and also play like before. So with their support and encouragement, that he became the Paralympian, and finally he won the gold medals and silver ones.
Yeah.
So it is, yeah. So it is yes, please.
Thank you so much for your sharing session, Mr. Mio. Do you have anything else to share, Mr. Mio?
Yeah, I have a little only for
Sure.
only for just 5 minutes, just 4 or 5 minutes, not more than this. Okay, here is the main one that currently he introduced in Myanmar. It is the sitting volleyball. In the 7th Pacific game, the organizer of the Pacific the game introduced to play the sitting volleyball in Myanmar. At the time, we have no experience of playing that kind of sport. So they share the technique, how to play. He even learned how to improve the ability of athletes, and the Myanmar the sitting volleyball team started playing football, the sitting volleyball in 2006. So here is the milestone. In 2009, we start winning the gold medal for ASEAN Para Game, and then here so on in 2017 at Malaysia, the ASEAN Para Game, they won the gold medal. That is his milestone and achievement in his life. And here is in 2008 full ASEAN Para Game to receive the gold medal. And here is in Malaysia. This is in 2009 ASEAN Para Games. And here the so on. And here this one. And then here in Myanmar achievement. And then here, the last one is that he would like to share is a 2022 ASEAN Para Game achievement. Their team won the following in 2020 ASEAN, 2022 ASEAN Para Game, 40 gold medals, 12 silver, bronze, and total was 43 medals. And then only 11 gold medals in 2017 ASEAN Para Game. And so they improved the achievement in 2022 ASEAN Para Game. This is the welcoming at the airport for the team here. These one, yeah, these are the achievements. Yes. Thank you all the attendees and all the speaker for paying attention to our presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Myo, on behalf of Mr. Win. Do you have anything to say, Mr. Win, before we move on to the next speaker? Such great achievement and really inspiring story there. Mr. Win, anything from you?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for the insightful sharing. Thank you so much. The next speaker is definitely the epitome of strength and empowerment. We are grateful to have Miss Adeline Dumapong Achenta from Philippines. Mabuhay. She's the para powerlifter from Philippines. We are really excited to have you with us. Always so joyful and smiling. So Miss Adeline, we look forward to your session. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Suhaila. And thank you all for for inviting me to be part of your activity this morning. And so next slide, please. Yeah, okay. So, I have a lot of things to share, of things that I want to share, but however, because of the limitation of time, of course, I have to put focus on what the things that I am going to share with you. So I will tell you about my life, how I started, what made me, the foundations that I had, the barriers and the challenges that I had to go through, and of course, finding my way in life, in sports, as we go, as I journey through my life. So next slide, please. Okay, so let me tell you about where I am. I came from the northern part of the Philippines. So if in the Philippines, we have the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And I am from the biggest island in the Philippines. It is in the mountains. Okay, so we are 6 in the family, but in that picture there, I am the smallest one. So we are very poor. My parents, my father is an ordinary government employee, and my mother stayed at home to take care of the 6 of us. Okay, so life in the mountains was really hard. And at 3 years old, I got polio. I was 3 when I had polio. I did not get vaccination for that because we were living in the mountains. It was only when I had polio that we went down, but it was too late already. So, anyways, at age so I did not have any wheelchair at the time. And of course, during the time, we were living in the mountains, and my grandparents thought that, because it was not really, in the culture, in our culture, they thought that I am being played by, fairies are playing with me, and then I have offended some spirits. So we had to perform like, our culture. We had to offer and slaughter animals to appease the spirits. But of course, nothing worked because I really had polio. So anyway, so next slide, please. At age 6, my parents decided to bring me to Manila, the center already, so that I can have my education. Because, of course, in the mountains, there were no accessible schools that would take care of me. And having six siblings, my parents will have really have a hard time to, take care of me. There would be no help. So they decided they made the painful decision for me to be apart from them, to be separated from them at a very young age of 6. So when I was in Manila, I lived in a home. We call it a home, but it's like an institution for children with disabilities, and it is called Bahay Mapagmahal, or in English it is called a loving home. So Bahay Mapagmahal or Bahay Mapagmahal is an institution for children with disabilities from all over the Philippines. So it is a dormitory, and beside that is a special school. I suspect a special education school where all of us have disabilities. And so I got my education through that from elementary to high school. And it is there where sport was first introduced to me. So you see, I have always been, in spite of my disability, I have always been an active person. So when my teachers would say, "Who would like to join for, swimming?" I would raise my hand. For wheelchair basketball, everything, athletics, shot put, discus throw, javelin, I would always raise my hand. Well, first, because I enjoyed physical activity. But the next one is because I wanted to escape from the very rigid structure of Bahay Mapagmahal. You see, in Bahay Mapagmahal, if you see in the slides there, it is there, we have the daily schedule. So we get up at 5 o'clock, we do our prayers. Oh, by the way, the institution was managed by a Belgian Catholic missionary. So of course the structure is quite stringent. Everything has time. But of course, looking back, those were the foundation for me. That's where I learned self-discipline, you know, um, uh, respect for authority, and being considerate about others, because we are all from different places. We share one, I mean, for girls, and for we have common toilet, for one for girls, one for boys, and we have to be able to manage our time well, because we cannot be late for prayers, for meal times, for everything, because otherwise we will get punished. So anyway, so that's my foundation. Yeah, and also in that institution, in that school, I learned all about para sports, or adaptive sports, they call it at that time. And also we learned music, so it was music and sports. And at a young age of 15, I was able to go to Japan. That was my very first travel, I mean, because of sports. So that was a wheelchair marathon. And that opened my mind to thinking that, oh, okay, so I can indeed travel. But since we do not have the money for travel, I thought that, if I make myself really good at sports, then I can have the opportunity to go out and see something outside of my small world at that time. Next slide, please. Okay, so yeah, coming from that institution, although it was very hard for me, I thought it was very hard, no, of course, when I was living there. But when I went out of that institution, when I went out of the school where it was still sheltered, because all of us, I mean, I was living in a world for until I was 16 years old, where all of us have some kind of disability. So it's like all of us are quite the same, are similar. So but when I went out of organization, because it was time for me to study in a university, that's when I really realized how it is to live with challenges. When I went outside, I realized, especially for transportation, here is before I'm 48 years old now, and I'm talking about 30 years before. So when I went out, it was really like, there was really no accessible transportation. Buildings are not really accessible. People look at me in a funny way, like, what are you doing here? Or I should be staying home and not be going around in my wheelchair. So it was really things like that. So I experienced all of that. Next slide, please. However, of course, because of the foundation that I got from that institution, the lessons, thought about my coaches in sports and in that organization, I was able to find my way. So I was able to graduate from the university. I was able to find employment, and then I was able to continue to be part of a performing group. So we went around Europe, we went to Japan, we went to Hong Kong to perform. And of course, the biggest part of it is I continued to be an athlete. So I became a para power lifter, because before, when I from elementary, high school, and college, I just do all the para sports that I'm interested in. But it was in 1996 when I started para powerlifting. And, it was like finding home there for para powerlifting, because somehow I have always been big sized. And when I found para powerlifting, for me, it was like finding the right sport for me, the right sport for my body. And of course, I like the discipline of it. So yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so I continue to live my life, and you know, in all that, while living my life, one thing is really constant, which is for me being part of a sport. And so, but aside from doing my sport, I also became a mother. And then next slide, please. Yeah, so I became a mother. I became, it did not, but it did not, how do you call this? It did not exempt me from the challenges of life. So as a mother, as an employee, as a friend, as a member of a family, there were so many challenges. But I take my strength from being from being in the sport, because I remember when there was this really very hard personal challenge. I was very depressed, but because I am an athlete and because I have sport, my coach would say, come on, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to get up, you have to go to the gym. And so so really what Coach Sunny said earlier about coaches being rolled into one beautiful being, I it really resounded, you know um stuck to my, pulled the string somehow in my heart, because it really helped, during when the times when I was going through so much. It was really my coach and my sport that really helped me overcome those challenges. So anyway, so as a para athlete, I left my mark, I think. So I became the first Filipino to win a Paralympic medal. It is a bronze medal. It's not a gold medal, but because it is the Paralympic medal, of course, for me, it felt like a gold medal. And just to share with you, in the Philippines, we only have two Paralympic medals. Both are bronze medal. One is the bronze medal I got in the Sydney Paralympic Games, and the next bronze medal came 16 years after, from the table tennis. Yeah, so I went on to 4 more Paralympic Games. I went to Athens, Beijing, London, and Rio. And then, yeah, and then I had all that medals, but at the same time, I think it is more important that the lessons I learned in sports are lessons that I have also applied in my life. And yeah, and as an individual, of course, I became a mother. I became an active advocate, strong advocate for persons with disabilities here in my community, especially. I became a motivational speaker. And then, of course, I realized that, as I grow older, I continue to be a student. I continue to learn from the new athletes that I meet, from the people, the elder generation. And and yeah, so it's all about leaving a mark in this world, making this world a better place than when I arrived here. So next slide, please. Yeah, and so at age 48, and having gone through all that, I like this quote from Winston Churchill that success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And in my life right now, I'm thinking of retiring from competitive sports already. But since I know how important sport is, I want to be able to still be part of it no matter what. As a coach, as an official, as an advocate. But I know that sport will always be part of me and my life, and I want to be able to share it. So next slide, please. Thank you very much, and mabuhay. Thank you.
Mabuhay. Well said, Miss Adeline. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful journey. Indeed, very inspiring. Do you still visit Bahai Mapak Mahal every now and then?
Yes, I still go there. I'm still part of the organization.
Hmm.
And yeah, I still go there and teach instruments to the younger generation and encourage them to get into sport, of course.
That's great. Thank you so much. And congratulations for winning, to becoming the silver medalist during the 11th ASEAN Para Games in Solo recently.
Thank
Congratulations for
you.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, parents play a vital role in sports participation as they usually contribute to children's initial sports involvement and provide concrete and emotional support throughout children's sports careers. Moreover, parents are those responsible to introduce their children to physical and sporting activity, providing transport, access, emotional and economic support. And indeed, parents bring their children to the competition venue and remain there, which means that parents can potentially affect the child and their behavior in sports. So, with that, we are extremely honored to have with us here today parent of Aloysius Dan Kai Hong, Singapore boccia player, Madam Cher Sok Hui. Thank you, Madam, for joining us today, Madam.
Hi, thank you. Hi,
Hi.
everyone.
Okay, Madam, the floor is yours.
Okay. So can you see my slide?
Yeah, we can see your slide, Madam.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Cher. So I'm mother of Aloysius Gan, who is a boccia player in Team Singapore. So Aloysius was born in year 2006. So he is currently 16 years old. And he was a full-term baby, but there was a delay during birth, so resulted him in lack of oxygen when he was born. And he was admitted to ICU and then discharged after 10 days. So ever since then, we did many follow-ups at hospital, doing hearing and eyesight tests, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy, etc. So over the years, we've been doing many therapies in his early years also at various countries like Malaysia, Singapore, China, or we even went to Canada. So this trauma basically affected his trunk control and speech. So over the years, we can see improvement on him, but although he can't really speak clearly and unable to walk independently, but his trunk control has improved and he's more independent than before. He was diagnosed by a doctor as a cerebral palsy, 𝐅𝐑𝐄𝐄, which is he will have some involuntary movement. He unable to control his movement. So at the age of 3, he attended the early intervention program at Cerebral Palsy Alliance Singapore. So when he was 5 years old, the school actually has connection with mainstream kindergarten, and he was selected to attend K1 at mainstream kindergarten. At that point of time, I need to accompany him in the classroom, as he can't even sit firmly in the classroom, and he unable to walk independently, and his speech clarity was not there. So actually others won't be able to understand what he say. That's why I have to sit in to be an interpreter for him. So imagine I have to go back to study at kindergarten again. However, after a year in kindergarten, I decided to pull him out, mainly because he's unable to speak and unable to write. So after that, I started to explore ways of communication for him, and I found out a special type of keyboard, which is called IntelliKey keyboard. So using that keyboard, he can type out whatever he wants to tell others. And at the age of 7, he graduated from the early intervention program and transferred to a school program at the same center. So initially, he was assigned to functional program in the school. But after a year in that program, the school actually think that he is capable to handle academic program. So at the age of 8 years old, they transfer him to academic program, and he start his P1, primary 1 at this special school. Then he start to use this keyboard to do his homework, to type out what he want to say. So even he's using this keyboard to type out his answer in the exam, and the teacher will copy down his answer and so-called help him to submit the paper. Then eventually he completed his primary school leaving exam, which we call PSLE, at the age of 13. So basically he is just like 1 year behind from the mainstream student. Yeah, I forgot to mention, his typing speed is very, very slow. So the examination board assess his situation and his condition and grant him double of the time to complete his paper. It sounds like a good deal, right? But imagine a science paper which normal students, they usually use 1 hour 45 minutes to complete it, but he has to use more than 3 hours to do the science paper. But he made it. So, and I saw how strong the resilience he was. So now let's talk about boccia. Okay, boccia is actually a precision ball sport. And to win it, a player must score the most points by rolling a set of colored balls, be it red or blue, as close as possible to the target white ball, which we call it jack. So players must remain in the player boxes while they throw their ball. So Aloysius started boccia at the age of 7. It is a niche CCA in his school. So at first, he was not assigned to this CCA. He was assigned to music CCA. But his teacher thought that he has potential. So she sent him for a trial and was accepted by this CCA. But because this is a niche CCA, the school usually don't take in first year student. So Aloysius is actually quite lucky to be able to join this CCA in his first year in school. So he is classified as a BC3 player, which is open to people with several different types of disability, include cerebral palsy. So they are unable to use their hand to throw because of their physical disability. So they need to use a ramp to help them to propel the ball. So they also need a ramp assistant to assist them in the game. So during the game, the ramp assistant is actually facing the athlete, so they can't turn to see the court, so they don't know what's happening at the court. So they just face the athlete and follow the instructions given by the athlete. So basically, it's all the athlete's game. The ramp assistant just act like their hand to help them to coordinate. So to help them to adjust the ramp, to put the ball at their desired position, so it can roll to what the distance that they want. So every Friday, I will join Aloysius in his CCA to act as his ramp assistant. Okay, just 3 months after he joined this CCA, there was a local competition. So his school sent all the students in the CCA to participate in this local competition. At that time, because we just joined for a few months, we don't have our equipment. We don't have our ramp, our balls. So when it's his turns for the matches, we just borrow from other teammates, like who were not having matches at the time, then we just grab their ball, their ramp, everything. But and of course he lost in his second pool match because as I mentioned, this boccia is a very precision ball game. So you have to have your own ramp, your own ball. You have to calibrate it very precisely in order to play it well. So that time we don't have anything. So that's why he was still new to this game. That's why he lost in the pool match. And I remember that time when he lost, he cried so loud in the sports hall, like small children lost their game or whatever and cry. Then I was so embarrassed and I quickly pushed him out from the hall and to comfort him. But I also remember that time when the teacher heard him crying, she said, "Yeah, very good. He cried, means he has expectation, so he will succeed in future." So after this first competition, Daddy got to know more. My husband got to know more about this sport and eventually step up as his ramp assistant. So in the slide, you can see the first photo is me and Aloysius, like such a little boy playing with a big brother. Okay, actually this game, they don't have any age category. They didn't categorize them according to their age. So you might end up playing with an adult. So that was him playing with a big brother. So eventually after that, my husband step up and become his ramp assistant. So you can see the rest of the photo, like Daddy is the main ramp assistant for him. And so beside this CCA on every Friday, his current training hour is every weekday afternoon. So except Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. So 5 hours per day. However, because Daddy need to work and is unable to commit full time, so other than every Friday, I still help Aloysius during his CCA. In the daily training, if Daddy can make it, then he will attend. If not, I will do the job. And we will record it down and Daddy will review the training with him. And every weekends, they will spend time looking for venue and train on their own. So as I mentioned, there's a minimum age requirement of 15 years old for you to participate in international competition. So before that, he can only participate in local competition. So these are his achievement in the local competition, like over the years. So there were individual and pair events in boccia competition. So over the years, we use this as our training target to see how far we can go. So before we are ready for international competition. And finally, he is, as I said, he is 16 now. So actually in 2015, the ASEAN Para Games was held in Singapore. ASEAN Para Games, held in Singapore. And we are honored that Aloysius was appointed as one of the athletes to light up the quadrant during the opening ceremony. However, he was only 9 years old back then, so he couldn't participate in the games. But we've been training hard over the years, and finally last year, 2021, he's finally 15 years old and was selected to compete in the Asian Youth Para Games at Bahrain. And he even appointed as the flag bearer at the opening ceremony. So this Asian Youth Para Game was his first international game. We entered the competition without much expectation, like thinking that it would just be a learning experience for him. But little did we expect, Aloysius rose up the rank and won a gold medal in his individual game. He also won a silver medal together with his partner in the pair game. And in April this year, he participated in his first sanctioned game organized by World Boccia, so which can help him to accumulate points for him in order to qualify for Paralympic Games. He won a 4th place in individual game and a bronze also in the pair game. And in just the recent ASEAN Para Game, like he won also silver in individual and gold medal in his pair game. So his ultimate goal is actually to be able to qualify for Paralympic Game. So he will continue to work hard to achieve this goal. But as a parent, we are very happy to see Aloysius is enjoying himself in these sports. And we believe that every child should have a dream to pursue. And we as a parents should give them our fullest support. So the journey to pursue the dream might not be easier. There will definitely have some obstacles, but no harm to slow down our pace. Enjoy the journey together with our kids. So you will realize that along the journey, you are not alone, and you will receive many helps from others, and you will make new friends along the journey. So that's a great things to enjoy. And most importantly, winning a medal in the end is not our ultimate goal. We want to experience this journey as a family. We think that is more enjoyable than a medal. So I think that's the end of my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam, for the very inspiring story of Aloysius. We are also very inspired to see that you and your husband as a family enjoy every step of the way towards Aloysius' success. So is he with you now, Aloysius? Can we say hi to him?
Oh, yes. Let me stop sharing.
Hello, Aloysius. Hi.
Oh,
We're from Malaysia. My name is Suhaila. Congratulations for the recent 11 ASEAN Para Games. Yay. Next game, you must win gold. All right. Okay, Aloysius, we know you can do it. Great job, Aloysius. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for that wonderful sharing. Really
Thank you.
inspiring. Thank you so much. Okay, now we would like to move on to the Q&A segment. We have a question to Madam Jamila. Madam Jamila? Madam Jamila, are you with us?
Yes, yes.
Okay, madam. The question here, with all of the wonderful initiatives by the MOE, can you please share the success of those initiatives in terms of the number of para-athletes, which are the medalists, gold, silver, or bronze in the international competitions like Paralympic Games or Para-SEA Games, Para-ASEAN Games, Para-World Athlete Games for the past 10 years, madam?
For the past 10 years.
The past 10 years, yeah. Very good question indeed, yeah.
Hold on, eh?
Yeah, sure, madam. Here we are also waiting for one more question from the participants in YouTube and Facebook. So if you have any comments, questions, please do not hesitate to share with us in the chat box. We can share with the speakers. You can also ask the coaches here, the athletes themselves, the parents. Okay, I'm sure they have so many important points to share with everyone.
I have this, what they call a PowerPoint here that I can share, but can you give me a little bit of time?
Yeah, sure, madam. Sure. Maybe in the meantime, I can move on to another question to Mr. Sofyan, Coach Sunny, Coach Fatil, as well as Miss Adeline and Mr. Win. Can you please share your opinion on the employment opportunities through sports for athletes with disabilities? Mr. Sofyan, can we start with you, Mr. Sofyan? Or how about Mr. Fatil? The employment opportunities, because you know we have our viewers here from Facebook and YouTube who are parents as well as students who would like to find out more on will sports enable them to be employed, and if so, how can they be employed through sports achievement?
If I may
Yeah, sure.
mention about these things, in National Sport Council, we have a divisions, we call it MACE, Malaysian Athlete Career Educations. So those who are selected in the program, basically instead of not focusing on the training, we are also giving them the opportunity whether they are willing to work, or we are giving them a preparation for the post athletes. As for instance, if they have finished their life as a sportsman or sportswomen, during the terms of in the program, we provided those athletes with the courses in technical, in entrepreneur, in order the athletes are able to pursue their life after finish their life as a sports. And then we do some engagement with the other companies, like for instance, or with the bankers, with the others like what we call it, the sports shops who can offer a job for the athletes. So we do it time to time, and then we offer the athletes.
So they'll be able to generate income and live independently, right, Mr. Sofyan?
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much for that. Any other speakers would like to add to that before waiting for Madam Jamila? Madam Jamila, are you ready? Okay. So how about Coach Sunny, Coach Fatil, Miss Adeline?
Can I share the screen?
Okay, Puan Jamila first, is ready.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, Madam Jamila, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so now we have written here pencapaian MBPK dalam sukan peringkat antarabangsa, or the achievement of special education needs athletes at international levels. Okay, so this was prepared by our sports from our sports and co-curriculum sector, not sector, unit. Okay. So as you can see here, from 2016 to 2017, when 2016 in Paralympic Rio, Brazil, 1 gold was won, was actually from one of our pupils. Okay, and in 2017, in 2017, we won 7 golds and then 7 silvers and 8 bronze in the Para-Asian 9th Kuala Lumpur and Asian Youth Para Games in Dubai, 2 golds. As you can see, these I don't think so I have to read everything, but as you can see, these were the achievements achieved by our SEN athletes, throughout from 2016 to 2021. Okay, so I hope this answers the questions that were given. Madam Suhaila?
So yes, that definitely answered the question, Madam Jamila. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and all our distinguished speakers, ultimately, speakers for today's sports webinar were really amazing. Mr. Sofyan, Madam Jamila, Coach Sani, Coach Fatil, Mr. Win with Mr. Mel, Miss Adeline, Madam Sher with Aloysius. Thank you so much. All of you were indeed inspiring and have shared very insightful and very important sharing for today's topic. Excellent effort with interesting and in addition, very important title with great informative session. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And moving on, we have our certificate of appreciation to give away to all of our wonderful speakers for today. We shall start with Mr. Sofyan Hamza. Thank you so much, Mr. Sofyan, for your great effort for being with us today.
Thank you.
Let's break the record. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to Madam Jamila.
Thank you, Madam Suhaila. It was
Madam
a nice slot of, highest appreciation to SEAMEO SEN.
Thank you so much, Madam. And Coach Sani. Yay, congratulations, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you, SEAMEO SEN. Thank you, fellow speakers. So much to share. Thank you very much. So much to share and learn from all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, we may have like round 2 of this webinar again in future because there's so many things to share. Moving on, Coach Fatil.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right.
Inshallah, see you soon, Mr. Fatil.
Yeah, thank you.
And for Mr. Win. Okay, moving on to Miss Adeline. Mr. Win, you want to say something, Mr. Win? Thank you for joining us, Mr. Win. Would you like to say a few words? Okay, Mr. Win. All right, thank you so much. Okay, moving on to Miss Adeline. Kamusta?
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Adeline. And last, definitely not least, Madam Sher.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing.
you. I hope my story can inspire some parents.
Definitely, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Also to Miss Stanley B, certificate. Thank you so much for your time and effort with us, Miss Stanley B. From the beginning until the end of today's webinar. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to now invite our Deputy Director, Dr. Muhammad Azli Sani Mat Jalil, to deliver his closing remarks. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day. Dr. Hanani Harun Rasid, Director of SEAMEO SEN Organizing Committee. Our speakers for today, Mr. Muhammad Sofyan Hamzan, Director Paralympic Division, National Sports Council Malaysia. Madam Jamilah Kadir, Deputy Director, Planning and Research Sector, Special Education Division, Ministry of Education Malaysia. Mr. Shailesh, Head Coach for National Blind Football and Amputee Football, Team's Technical Director, Pan Disability Football Malaysia. Mr. Fatil Khair Muhammad, Head Coach for Goalball, SMK Pendidikan Khas Setapak Malaysia. Mr. Win Min, Myanmar former Paralympian for Standing Volleyball and Shot Put. Ms. Adeline Duma Achita, Philippines Paralympian for Powerlifter. Ms. Che Sok Hui, mother to Alicius Gan Kai Hong, Singapore Paraboche player. And to all participants from SEAMEO member countries. I am very grateful that the webinar for Go for Goal, Let's Break the Record, has come to a close. We appreciate your rigorous dedication to today's webinar. We are content to see active participations from teachers, school administrators, parents, and NGOs in this webinar. I hope you gain much insightful knowledge in uplifting the quality of life for learners with disabilities in terms of physical, psychological, and social benefits through sports. As an organization, SEAMEO SEN has remained committed to developing human potential and in particular that of those with special needs. Therefore, the purpose of this webinar is to emphasize the benefits, rights, and opportunities for learners with disabilities who have achieved success in sports. Additionally, this webinar will support the cause of giving learners with disabilities the opportunity to enhance their quality of life by participating in sports. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to express my utmost gratitude to all speakers, Mr. Muhammad Sofian Hamzah, Madam Jamilah Kadir, Mr. Shailesh, Mr. Fatil Khair Muhammad, Mr. Win Min, Ms. Adeline Dumapong Achita, and Ms. Che Sok Hui for their time and diligent efforts in making today's webinar is a success. SEAMEO SEN is very honored to have the experiential speakers with us today for sharing their knowledge and experiences on the involvement of learners with disabilities in sports. As an outcome, I hope that participants' knowledge is enhanced through this webinar upon receiving guidance and advice from our speakers today. On behalf of SEAMEO SEN, I would like to thank all of the participants for your time and dedication in attending to this webinar. Please keep updated with SEAMEO SEN programs via our official website and social media for the future benefits. Thank you, and I hope we will see you again in future SEAMEO SEN's programs. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you so much, Dr. Aziz, for the closing remarks. With that, we would like to share the QR code, as you can see in the screen now. For those of participants in YouTube and Facebook, you can scan the QR code here for the evaluation form. You will get your certificate within 14 working days. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this webinar we would like to appreciate all of the staff involved here from Training and Consultation Division, as well as from Strategic Communication Unit, and of course, the management of SEAMEO SEN. Thank you all for the great effort and great teamwork. Do follow us on our social media, our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more sharing of programs from SEAMEO SEN. Ladies and gentlemen, participation in sports offers so many benefits, and every child should have the opportunity to participate in sports at least once in their life. Key strategies presented today and during today's webinar included educating and preparing administrators, as well as coaches and teammates, focusing on ability accommodation rather than disability and obstacles, and helping communicate people, provide new sports opportunities, can help the community to appreciate the uniqueness of sports for disabilities, as well as to create positive sports opportunities and successful participation for all. So let's go for gold and break the record. Thank you, everyone. See you in our next program. Stay safe and take care. Thank you.
It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow. Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health, and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let us take a stand for our visions to grow, bringing future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and dreams. Here at SEAMEO, building the future is our legacy. We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams for a better quality.